Welcome to the Universe is Talking podcast. I'm your host, King.
And I'm your host, Aja.
As always, we want to thank all of our listeners across the world. We have our listeners in the States, of course, that we want to thank for listening. We want to thank our listeners in India, Argentina, and the UK. Thank you to everyone who's been listening. As we always say at the end of the show, please share with your friends and people that you know. Leave comments for us, feedback, topic requests, whatever engagement you could possibly have with us. We appreciate all of it. And we're going to go ahead and roll into episode 6 of this season. And the topic today is going to be, that man is never going to leave his wife, especially not for you. We were discussing this topic before we began, and we both think that one of our listeners requested this topic.
Uh-huh.
So before I begin, I want to say that I'm going to say some things that might hurt, but you requested this topic, and I have to be honest with you about this topic. So, that man is never going to leave his wife, especially not for you. Let's talk about the leave his wife part.
Okay.
Men are very patient when it comes to crossing that line with their women, rather. Some men know right away that she's the one. Other men go through lots of women before they finally figure out who's the one for them. But we're typically patient when it comes to this. With that being said, we have finally found this woman that we want to marry, we want to spend our entire life with, we want to have our kids with, invest our future with this woman. We found her. It's her. What makes you think that he's going to leave that for you? He's been with so many women leading up to cheating on his wife with you. You're most likely not the first person that he's been cheating with. And he didn't choose to leave his wife for her. So what makes you so special that you're the one that he's just going to up and leave his wife for? There's most likely nothing that you do better than her when it comes to being his wife. You may play with him better. You might look better on his arm when he's out at company events. You might look better on his arm when he's out around the town having fun. You may give him different experiences in the bedroom. You might cook pretty good. But there's so much more to being his wife than all of that superficial shit. That wife went through all of the trials and tribulations with him to survive all of these years of their marriage, their relationship, their engagement, etc. She's gone through all of it already. They've had the arguments. They've broken up. They've threatened to separate from each other. They may have threatened to divorce each other, but they ain't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what makes you think that you're going to come along and force his hand and make him leave his wife. I don't know what makes you think that you're going to come along, he's going to see you and up and leave his wife, but it's not going to happen, regardless of whatever he says. I know most likely he's the one that's saying it. I know that he's telling you, I'm going to leave her and we're going to be together, but he's lying. And he's lying and he's lying and he's going to keep lying and he's going to keep lying because he's never going to do it. How do I know? Because if he was going to do it, he would have done it before you came along. As men, we love to talk shit. We talk, but when it comes to our woman, we ain't going to do shit. I'm saying that as a man who have talked about ending it. It's over. I'm done. We're done. If you wait me out about 48 hours, I'm done being done. That's just the way it goes for us. You just got to wait us out. Me out of the equation now. I always
that
tell
was definitely you.
For sure. But now I always tell you about my friends. We can talk about my married friends. I've been on the other end of that phone. I've been face to face with my married friends. And they've told me, L is over. I'm done. We are done. We just gonna get the divorce. I'm gonna live my life. She's gonna live her life, and it's all done. Me being their friend, I react like you being that other woman reacts. Oh, it sounds like it's over. It must really be over. Now, because they're my friend, I get caught up in the emotions of it. So now I start feeling the emotions that what's he going to do? Where is he going to go? How is he going to bounce back? Is his emotional mind state okay? I'm going through all of that. I fall for the trap just like you as the other woman fall for the trap. I go to check on him 2 to 3 weeks later. He's still in the goddamn house with her. They are better than ever. They're going on vacation to make things right. He's promising me that whatever it is that he did to mess this up, he's never going to do it again. He is head over heels with his wife, and he's really going to get his shit together. I could only imagine how deep this rabbit hole goes for the other woman who has to deal with being told that he's going to leave the wife, but then he doesn't leave the wife, but then he keeps coming around dealing with you, and it seems real good to you. All you want is for him to leave his wife in your head anyway. That's what you want. All you want is for him to leave his wife and be with you. But what do you think he's going to do once he actually gets to you? Let's say the day came and he actually decides to be with you. If he left his wife to be with you, you got to know that eventually he'll be willing to leave you to go be with somebody else.
Mm.
That's just the way this thing goes. But you don't have to worry about that because he's never going to leave her. That's his wife for a reason. We don't have the emotional capacity to deal with actually leaving our wife. I told you in one of the earlier episodes of this season, men love hard. The last thing we want once we get married is to have to recover from that divorce. I've seen that happen. And that looked very bad. That was very ugly. Having to watch a very close friend of mine get that divorce from his wife and his children. And in their case, it was the best thing for both of them, yes. But that was their thing. That had nothing to do with nobody else. That was their thing. Things had gotten that bad between them. It was just very, very, very ugly. Was to leave each other alone and get that divorce. But once he did it, he was just gone. So again, yeah, if he left his wife to be with you, he's not going to be any good for maybe 2 years after he left his wife, because there was love and emotions involved in that. As the other woman, I'm sure that you don't want him to come to you in that broken down state where he's not even half the man that he was when he was at his best. Ironically, at his best was when he was with his wife. Now he leave his wife and you see this other side of him that you wasn't expecting to see, you was not prepared to see. Now you're not happy. It's a very dangerous game that women play. And men play this game as well, dealing with someone who's married. But this was a topic that was requested from a woman, so I'll deal with it in that aspect. It's a very dangerous game that women play dealing with the married man, because you're going to find yourself waiting years upon years for something that's never going to come. In that waiting, the wife is bound to find out about you. That's going to be ugly. That's going to be very ugly. One thing about us men, we don't do a very good job of hiding shit. We think we do. Always evidence somewhere. Even if it's a strand of hair, that's not the wife's hair. Once that wife gets her hand on this evidence, his life is going to become a living hell. Your life is going to become a living hell. And you're going to come to find out that this isn't really worth it. We wrestled recently, and I'm talking to you now, we recently read a story where I think it was the ex-wife was angry. No, it was the current wife, actually. I think the current wife might have been angry over the baby mother because the baby mother was acting ignorant or something like that. And the current wife had went and cut the brake line. She cut the brake line. And when the child was in the car with the baby mother, the baby mother crashed. The child died. The wife survived. The baby mother survived. I think that's how the story went.
I think it's the other way around. It was the baby's mother. The baby mama is the one that cut the wires of the wife's car, the new woman's car. And the new woman was driving the baby's mother's child. So when she crashed, her own child died. The baby's mother child died. And not even the wife that she was trying to get at. That's the story. And it was terrible. It was stupid and terrible and just the most terrible thing.
Yeah, that was horrible. And that plays into this topic. Mm-hmm. The man had been with her first. Now he's not with her. He called himself moving on to be with another woman. Granted, he married this other woman. She's not done yet. She's out for revenge. So, again, if that man actually leaves his wife, do you think the story ends there for them and everything begins brand new with you and him now because he's with you? She's not done. She wants all of hers. And there's no telling how far somebody's willing to go to get that revenge for being hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to see it. I hate to see, and this is a topic that's going to come up later on in this season, but I hate to see women fighting over a man because, truth be told, if that man's going to let them fight, he has no respect for either one of them. Regardless of whatever happened or how it happened, he always has control of letting them two get physical. So for that man to sit back and watch the woman walk all the way up to the other woman, get in her personal space, and cutting, stabbing, punching, pulling hair, dragging, whatever they're doing physically to each other, for him to sit back and watch, because a lot of men sit back and watch this and laugh because it's funny to them. That says a lot about how much respect that man has for both of the women. After all of the fighting gets done, though, of course he's leaving with one of them. If it's the wife, of course he's leaving to go with the wife because that's where his home is.
Mm-hmm.
Just for a second and let you come in.
Okay. You've given me a lot to, I think, respond to. I mirror, or my thoughts mirror yours that you shared. But obviously I have a different perspective as a woman, and then add into that being a married woman. And, of course, I've been single before, so I know also what it's like to not be married. And I've never been single and wanted to be married but we'll leave that for now. The thing about dealing with a married man and possibly a man dealing with a married woman, the thing about dealing with a married man is that you're never getting the truth, never the whole truth. The reason why you can't get the whole truth is because he's already lying to be present with you. Unless, of course, he's made an arrangement, he's in an arrangement that allows him to see other people while also being married. The relationship that he's having with you is a lie, period. So with that, since it's predicated on a lie, there's always going to be lies being told. Lies to her, the wife, because he has to make provisions to be with you. And then there are the lies that he tells you to make you feel good about being number 2 or 3 or 4, because you really don't know where you fall in the other woman ladder. You may not even be second on his list. But he's lying. He has to lie, okay? So with that being said, a liar who's lying to his wife that he's made vows with, how can you believe him to tell you the truth about whatever your future is going to be? He's lying to her, and he promised her some things. So this is the foundation of why you can't believe that he will ever leave his wife. To me, it's not even whether he desires it, whether she's a good wife or whatever. It's just the fact that we're talking about a liar. He lies. So why would you believe what he's got to say? That's just number one. That's just right off the bat. He's a liar. And then you add into the mix some of the things that you mentioned, which was that he married this woman. So she must have been pretty spectacular, at least temporarily, for him to go as far as marrying her. He married her. She wasn't just the baby mama, not to put down baby mamas, but I'm just saying, when he took it an extra step with her, he made it legal. He built a home with her. And possibly, depending on how long they've been together, he's had children with her. He's, built financial situations with her. They have property together. They've done a lot. They shared a life together. So this is the woman that he chose to do all this with. This is the woman that he's done that with. And you think that he's just going to end all that because of something that feels good right now. He's been in enough temporary situations that felt good. You're not the first woman with good pussy. You're not. An experienced man has had a lot of women with great pussy. He's had it. Now, new pussy is special, yes, but he's had new good pussy a lot, and he knows that after a while it's no longer new, it's just good pussy, and he's had good pussy, so he's not going to make his decisions based on that. You can be smart, brilliant. She was too. He married her. So you don't have that up on her. It's just what you're saying is fresh and new. It's like this conversation we had a little while ago and it was on this podcast, and I mentioned how there's this discussion or this idea that a younger generation is a better generation than an older generation. And I don't get hung up on this. I'm just saying that if you work in a workplace that talks about, say, millennials, because millennials are in the workforce and they're new in the workforce right now. My daughter's generation hasn't yet moved into the workforce, so millennials is the thing right now. And there's a lot of hatred from millennials to the Xers, and then there's, that goes back, the X to the millennials, because there's this idea that millennials think they know everything and they're so brilliant and, they're just bringing all these fresh new ideas. Well, the X group, when they came in, to the workforce, they did this very same thing. Every generation that comes into anything will always have fresh new ideas. They always will, because they don't have the pleasure of having been in something long enough to know that it's been done before. So what they do is they take they mix in new technology and things that they have brought from their life and their situation, and they mix it with a lot of things that have been done already, but they just don't know it yet. They have no idea. It takes the old dog to say, girl, we tried that already, and it didn't work here. Well, you didn't try it like this, and they have all their gadgets and their gadgets, and it looks all great, but then it still ends up in the same way. Look at the economy today. I mean, we still have recession and depression, and the stocks go up, and there's nothing new under the old sun. It just looks different, right? It just looks different. Same with women. A new woman will come along. She will say some things that sounds brand new, but it's always the same. There's nothing new. She's not different. I mean, granted, we're individuals, but it's the same thing. He just is turned on by it because it's coming out of different lips, and those lips are different and pretty and red today. His wife hasn't worn red lipstick in years, if she's ever done it.
Right.
And it's, this new one is wrapped up in cloth and silk, and his wife hasn't worn silk in a really long time, and if she's ever worn it. And this one is wearing a teddy and showing her navel. And his wife, he ain't been able to even see the navel in her stomach in probably 15, 20 years. And so it just is so appealing that he's going for it right now. But he's not stupid. He's gone for it before. He knows what that is. He's done it many times. So here you are, fresh and new, exciting. You make his dick hard. You make his blood boil. He's just, he can't contain his lust for you. It has him blinded. He thinks he's in love, and he tells you what he tells women that he feels like he's in love with. All those things that he wished that he can be with you, that he wished that he can spend the rest of his life with you. And so is once he ends his time with you, because he's got to go home, is he realizes that he can't do that shit. When he came to your house, you was living in an efficiency. You got a one-room shack, essentially. And you got an okay job, but you really don't have, you've not established anything. You don't have a situation that, he could easily insert himself in and have the same comforts. As he's on his way home, he realizes that his wife has set him up for something wonderful. I mean, they've built an empire together. And so why would he go from what he has to this shack with you? Now, there are exceptions. The exception is that things are so bad at home, him more than one time, and she's just done. She's fed up, and she can't take it no more. This will be when he actually leaves his wife. He will tell you he's leaving his wife when really his wife has kicked his ass out. He will tell you he's leaving and he would rather be with you. And don't fall for it. Because what it is he needs a place to stay. He got kicked out. He needs a place to stay. Why would a man leave a good home with good food, good everything, okay, and then come to your one-bedroom efficiency and stay with you? Why would he do that? Because he has no place to stay, and he does not have enough money to stay in a hotel until these things get figured out. So he tells you what you need to hear, because guess what? Remember what I said in the beginning. He's a liar. He lies. He lied to his wife. He was lying to you all along. He probably has other women, but you're the one with the best setup. Some of the women that he has doesn't even have their own place. So, I mean, you're doing better than them. So he comes to you, and you're excited because you're like, he came to me. He's living with me now. And now you get to see all the shit that she has had to put up with, that he never told you was the reason why she was tripping all the time. He only told you that she was tripping. He only told you that she complains, and you were sitting there thinking she's a terrible wife. Why is she like this? This is a wonderful man. He got big dick. He knows how to use it. He says sweet things. He gives little gifts every once in a while. She should be appreciative of having a man like him. If he was my husband, I would blah, 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 blah. Well, you know what? Now you're getting ready to figure out. This man, his ass stinks early in the morning. He's kicking his underwear up under the bed, his stinky socks. So the whole little one-bedroom apartment that you got is smelling all funky. He don't wash up. He don't brush his teeth half time. He look a dang on mess. The only reason why he was looking even halfway good for you is because she's the one who took care of it. All that stuff that you thought was her was him. And now you're getting ready to find that out. And now you want him gone after a couple of months because he's not doing anything. Because she was the one holding him up. She was the one taking his paycheck and making sure it went to keeping things running. He lied. He's a liar. It was never her. It was him. And now you know. You know why she kicked him out. Because she was tired of his shit. And she said, you know what? If this little young hoe wants him, let her have him. Now you got him. Terrible. Now, why do some women fight for the man? It is my assumption, it's just a belief of mine, that women aren't fighting for you. We're fighting for what we believe is ours, and is not necessarily you, the individual, the person, the man. It is the thing we built up, the relationship, all that work, all the blood, sweat, and tears that we have put into our situation. And here comes some young hussy, and I'm just, listen, y'all, I've not actually had this happen to me. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying I've not had the experience in all the years I've been married to my husband where there's been some young chick that, like, you know, I was sensing in the background, or even any chick, any age chick, where I'm like, you know, I got to deal with this. I've not had it, but I have seen it. I've been on the peripheral of these situations. So I'm speaking from experience, other people's experience, just not my passionate about this for me. But I will say, you know, it happens a lot. It happens a whole lot. There's a whole lot of women that are the other women. There's a whole lot of women that are the wives that are with husbands that have other women. And why are these women fighting each other? Are they fighting each other because this man is just so wonderful that, neither wants to lose him? No, not in my opinion. My opinion is that this wife has spent a great deal of her life invested in this relationship with him. I don't even know if she's in love with him anymore. If he's been this guy who's been cheating, she's probably known that, and he's been at it for years. So she might not even be in love with him anymore. He's just her husband, period. This is her marriage, period. This is their home. These are their cars. They have children. They have a life. This is her life. And this other woman has not invested in this at all. All she's had to do is be pretty and say the right things at the right time. And just be there for him when he's supposedly getting away from the stress of his wife. So yes, she's a more desirable situation. So she's upset. This wife is upset that this woman who's not had to do any work and put any work in could potentially be ruining all the things she's built. So she's frustrated and she wants the shit out of this little girl or woman. This woman, young woman, whoever woman, other woman, is fighting for what she thinks she deserves. Even though she has not put in all the work, she wishes to. And she's fighting for the potential of like her dream coming true because she thinks this man could be her husband. How could he be yours? He's not even hers. He's not even hers, who he's supposed to be with. He ain't even hers. So how's he going to be yours? But this is what they're fighting for. They're fighting for the relationship, not him. Is it stupid? Yes. It's very stupid. As ugly as it gets, it's even more stupid. Like, to the limits that we just discussed recently with the woman and her cutting the brakes, and that's crazy. Like,
that was bad.
That's extreme, but
remember the police had to detain the man because they didn't want him to retaliate on the baby mother.
Right. And in that situation, so I feel like it's different unless of course there was unless of course they were tied up in the other woman type of scenario. But comes to a woman who was not married but had a child with and he's moved on, that's very different than we were married and you started fooling with this woman while we were married and now you're living with her and you got my baby with this woman that you cheated on me with. Not to say both can't be painful and aren't painful situations. They're just two separate scenarios. And remember, I said on our last podcast that I believe that men play a big role in whether women have an easier time getting over relationships because men often don't end, and I'm going to say men mostly don't. Women, we don't ever want to end the relationship, usually. It's got to be terrible for us to initiate breaking up. But when it comes to men, men will break up pretty easily, but then they don't do it in such a way that they cut it. So when you keep coming back and you keep saying, I love you, but here are the circumstances and this is why I'm gone, but I'm going to fuck you tonight. But then tomorrow I really don't want to talk to you, and you knew what it was. But she don't know what it is because she's already in love. And so it doesn't matter what your words say. Every time you're physically with her and every time you give her the time of day, she starts to believe that whatever you had in the past is coming back. Those situations, to me, breed that craziness that happened with that woman. You know, because the type of person I am, I want to know all of these. I want to know, what was he saying to baby mama? all the time. When did it really cut off? What were the things that were behind the scene that we just don't know about now?
Yeah, what warnings did she give him? If he don't do this, she's going to do this. Because there had to be some warnings there.
Yeah. So I just, I think one of the things that's a sure thing is that he won't leave his wife for you unless she leaves. The wife has got to be the one when it comes to marriage.
Yeah, I just don't see him leaving. I don't see it. Not the wife.
Right. No, I mean, but she will.
No. I'm saying I don't see him leaving the wife.
Oh, yeah, because what is that? What's the song? It's Cheaper to Keep Her.
Yeah, yeah.
It gets really complicated leaving your wife. I mean, because of the anger that usually follows with a woman when a man actually, like the very few times that a man actually leaves, it usually becomes a very vindictive situation for the wife, especially if there's another woman involved. She will likely start to take everything, like, you're not getting this, she will make life a living hell for him. So even if it's not a monetary thing, as far as cheaper to keep her, it is, maybe less stressful to keep her, because once you do leave her, you do have like an enemy. And you know how your wife is, you know how resourceful she is. If she uses that against you, like, that's terrible. Like, I know how dangerous I could be if I were ever vindictive. And that's just the truth. I'm not, and I don't have a reason to be, but I know that as resourceful as I am as a wife on your side, you don't want me to be against you. Like, you just don't. And I just think that there's a lot of women who, when they're hurting, they become vindictive, whether they wish that to be the case or not. It just is a consequence of being hurt and angry about their situation. And we kind of saw a little of that when we watched Acrimony. We talked a little bit about that at the end of our first season. Just things that the bitterness that followed her relationship, her relationship ending. So, yeah, I mean, someone did ask for us to discuss this on this podcast, and I think both of us, we're not the type of people that, or at least on the show, we're not the type of people that glorify extramarital relationships. I think we're just realists, so we know they exist. Whether or not either of us have participated in our share of relationships that we shouldn't have been in, and I'm not taking any type of responsibility for that. I'm just saying we are adult people and we've had our own experiences, of course, but I think we both recognize that when it comes to marriage, it's a sacred thing. Most people don't get involved in marriages. They want it to work out well, but we also know that the way that married people define their relationships vary. Some people, are just, it's a monogamous marriage. Some people it's not. They have other people that are involved, and in a perfect world, this would not be a secret. And if it's not a secret, then it's kind of hard to hurt people because everything's on the up and up. But the reality is that there's a lot of extramarital relationships occurring, and there's a lot of lies being told. I'll tell you one thing. One of the things that I really, and I've said this before, I've heard it's not just one person. It's been a handful of women in the course of my adult life that have shared their relationships with married men with me, even if it's just a little bit. And one of the things that they seem to get caught up with is how much he's glorifying them in their relationship. someone who may or may not listen to the podcast, because I don't know that they've even openly admitted that they're watching, but they watch so much of what I do and listen to so much of what I say. It's quite possible that they're listening on this episode. But it's someone who has said that they have talked to a lot of married men, and these married men, love to talk to them. They love the friendship that they have, and they'll spend a lot of time talking about what their wives won't do. And this person kind of talked about, she didn't understand why these wives wouldn't do this stuff. And I think that though she didn't say she felt more powerful and desired in this situation, she did. That's what that's how it came off to me, is that she felt that she was being desired by men and that the wives were slipping. And I wonder
if she felt as desired once he took his ass home.
Well, see, according to her at the time, she wasn't involved with them. She was just a friend to these married men.
Oh, and they just so happened to open all the way up that much, huh?
Yes, so happened.
Oh, okay.
and here's my thing. Even if let's just say that's the truth.
Let's
just say. My thing here is, whether you realize it or not, you are involved with a married man. You just haven't gotten physical yet. Even if you're telling the truth, you just haven't gotten physical yet. Because he is confiding in you about things that he should not be confiding in you about. He is married, period. So having these dinners and lunches and talking about his marriage and what's wrong with it, that isn't friendship. That, to me, it crosses a line. And I know that you know it, because would you tell her that, yes, I'm meeting with your husband and we're talking about you?
Over dinner.
Right.
Just right. He and I. Even if it's not dinner, it's just he and I in this private place. Yeah.
Yes. And then he's also sharing with me that if he were with me, he would like it because I'm smart and I'm this and I'm that.
And she listens so well.
Exactly. It's wrong. So let's just start there. That's wrong. 2, you aren't married to him. So you don't know why and we talked about this just the last podcast, you don't know why she does what she does with him, or why she doesn't do what she doesn't do with him. You don't know it because all you have is a glimpse of him. Even if you spoke to this person every single day, you still don't know them. You don't know someone until you live with them.
Right.
I promise you.
Right.
I promise you don't know someone until you live with them. You could talk to somebody every single day. You could speak on the phone most of the day.
Mm-hmm. And they can tell you everything that they're doing.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? They're only telling you what they want you to know. It's not until you live with them because there's no secrets then. As much as someone tries to keep the secret, they can't. Not when you live with them. You see them for who they are. I didn't know my husband was my husband, like who exactly he was, until we started living with each other. Everything was revealed at that time. All his habits, everything. And as time goes on, you see more and more because, in the beginning, there are some things you hold back. There's just some things you just don't do. Let's just say, and we're going to use something that's kind of gross, but like in the beginning, you may not have a bowel movement like openly, like let the person know that that's what you're doing. You may hide that in any kind of way. After about 10 years, let them bubble guts come. You're not hiding it. Hide it for what? They have seen and heard everything. Now, I'm not saying you just don't care. I'm just saying you don't have to hide those things. This is your life partner. Your life partner.
Mm-hmm.
Life. There shouldn't be a secret. There should be no hiding who you are. They should see the ugliest parts of you. and still think you're beautiful. My husband thinks I'm still beautiful after he has seen me. I remember a time when, and I don't know what caused it, but my skin was dry, and I live in a climate where it gets dry. It's very cold. We have the heat on, and my skin will get dry. And my skin loves, like Florida, where there's humidity. I have no problem with dry skin when I'm there. But when I'm here, I will have dry skin. I'll never forget. My feet was crusty as fuck. And he looked at my feet, and he said, ooh. He said, that's probably the worst I've ever seen your feet. And now, let's imagine he saw that it was like that within, say, the first couple of months of us dating, or even the first year of us being married. I might have been terrified, like, this man's going to fall out of love with me seeing my feet like this. But he did that, and then he went back to watching TV. And, you know, like, I was a little self-conscious about it. I was like, man, I guess it's time for me to do something about these feet. So, you know, I went ahead and soaked my feet, made them all soft and smooth. And he didn't care. I mean, he was still kissing on me and loving on me like he had not seen my feet looking like I was kicking around a flower. Like, he did not care. He loved me. He loves me. He just loves me. But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, when you get to the point where you stop hiding these things about yourself and this person still loves you regardless, like, that's solid. You can't hide when you live with somebody. Those things it's impossible. And if you're still managing to do that, even after all those years, why are you married? Why are you even involved or living with someone that you can't be your truest self with, that you can't let your feet get crusty with, that you can't let your lips get dry with, that you can't let your hair look any old kind of way, that you wake up in the morning, you put makeup on before they can see your face? The ones that you got to hide, like you go somewhere and you got to go to some other bathroom because you're afraid that they're going to hear or smell the reality of who you are. Like, I don't understand that, because this is your life partner. You're about to spend the rest of your life with this person. Nothing should be a secret. You should be able to open up in ways with this person that you would never with anyone else. So to me, someone sitting and only getting a glimpse of someone and thinking they know them and what they would do for this person is stupid. You have no idea who this man is or this woman because you don't live with them. So, of course, in this moment at dinner, when the lights are twinkling and you done dressed and you smell good, and he's on his best behavior, everything is perfect. He has not seen your crusty feet. He has not seen you when your hair's not done, or you haven't slathered all that dang on makeup on your face. He ain't seen you like that. He doesn't know. Because maybe if he saw you at your worst would look worse than her at her worst. Because he's in love with her. Whether he says it or not, he loves his wife. He loves his wife. This is why he has not left.
And he's not going to leave.
He's not going to leave. Even if she gets on it, that was the other thing in which you said that struck a chord with me. My husband and I have never been, I know I can only speak for me, but I believe this about him as well. We've never gotten to the place where we thought we would be divorced. I was just even telling my mom yesterday that, like, I can't foresee us ever not being married. Like, I think this is a forever thing. I feel that in my heart, my soul. I know it. Have I always felt that? No. I mean, in the beginning, it feels strange and weird, and you feel a little insecure because every argument or disagreement or time you just feel a little off, you just don't know if it's going to be like other relationships that end. But, you know, our marriage has stood the test of time, and we've passed that point where I feel that way. Now, if I took him for granted and all of that, maybe, possibly. But so far, who I am and what we have, I feel pretty secure about that, very secure about that. With all that being said, there are times we get on each other's nerves, period. We just get on each other's nerves. You can love someone, love everything. I mean, like, love the ground they walk on, but they still get on your fucking nerves. I mean, look at you and me. You get on my nerves just about every single day.
Well, I got to do that.
Yeah, I know.
I got on your nerves last night.
You got on my nerves last night. You just about got on my nerves this morning, but I held off. I was like, we going to be recording.
But it got to happen. I got to do that.
Yes. And I know for a fact you're not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. We're friends for life. Like, this is it. It's a given that when you're close to someone, they will get on your nerves. You can love them and you can love most things about them, but there are going to be things that you just don't agree with about them. And really and truly, you don't have to. They are them. They're individuals. They have their own way. And not everything will be the way you want it to be. So, yes, there are going to be trying times in any relationship, and sometimes those things tumble into each other. It's one thing after another, and you feel like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. And those may be the moments that some people, your friend, might say to you, I'm done. I'm just done. This is over. It's a wrap. And then in between the time of that conversation you had with them and the next conversation, what happened is she showed him, probably unintentionally, just by living, she showed him the value in staying. It's not always that people are lying or being conniving to hold on to. Sometimes your eyes just open to what's in front of you. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes that's exactly what it is. Sometimes you just see her be a mother, or you just see her be a wife, or an employee, or just herself, a daughter, and you go, this is a beautiful person. Why do I keep tripping over the bullshit? I need to stop. Now, granted, sometimes we do need to end it. Sometimes it's the best thing for everybody to end this relationship. We've talked about it on the podcast many times. Let it go. If you keep finding yourself at this point and the only thing that pulls you back in is something that's not enough, then maybe it's time to end it.
Right. But that end point is between them. It has nothing to do with anybody else.
Right. That's true. That's true. Like I said, the only time that you're going to find that he supposedly left his wife for you is really when she left him and she kicked his ass out and he needed a place to stay. And the way he turned that story is that he got fed up and he left.
There is one more.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm here for it.
All right, here we go. So I got to go with the opposite side of this now.
Okay.
There are men who find themselves being the other man. To those men that are the other men, I want to say, be very careful. Be very, very, very careful. That man knows his wife. The same way that men aren't really good at hiding shit and keeping shit concealed, if that woman's married and stepping out on her husband, that husband knows something. He senses it. He feels it. He recognized the change in the pattern. Even if there's no physical evidence, he didn't find a phone number. He didn't overhear her talking to that other man. Nothing like that happened. He peeped the change in her pattern. Normally, she's coming straight home from work. Normally, on the weekends, when she comes back home after being out, she's coming back in with groceries in her hand. All of a sudden, her work hours are extended. All of a sudden, she's out for all of these hours on the weekend, and she's not coming home with bags. What the fuck is going on? Mm-hmm. Now he gets to investigating. and he finds out that she's dealing with another man. In that scenario, is going to be a lot of hell in that household. But in that scenario, yeah, that man is very likely to end it, get that divorce, and be done with it whenever that time comes, because he still got to go through the emotions of, I can't believe this shit just happened. I can't believe that she actually cheated on me. I can't believe that she was spending our money on this other motherfucker. I can't believe it. I bought this car for her, and she's out riding around to go see him. He is going to get himself together mentally and emotionally, and he's going to end it at some point. But before I go there, I want to say, as the other man involved in that situation, that other man needs to shut his mouth, let her talk whatever she's talking about one day leaving her husband. Because just like the man is not leaving his wife, she's not leaving her husband. She's just talking. They have a system set up. Regardless of how much she complains about not getting the attention that she deserves from him not making her feel sexy anymore, him not touching her, him not fucking her the way she needs to be fucked. You're just filling in the blanks as the other man. But by no means does she want you to be the husband.
Mm-hmm.
She just want to be able to meet up with you from time to time, get all of the dick that she's yearning for from a young stallion, and then go back home and not be fucked and be perfectly happy and fine with that because she got whatever she needed outside of the house. Men fall for the trap just like women do, though. Oh, she's going to leave her husband one day. She's going to be with me. I'm going to get all of her money. I'm going to get all of her attention. She's going to be cooking for me. We're going to go all of these places together, and it's just going to be me and her, and I'm going to treat her the way that she deserves to be treated. That's what you think, homeboy. Until you get to seeing her, and her hair's not done anymore. And now you realize, oh, this is why he wasn't fucking her. She only looked good once 3 p.m. comes and then the rest of the day. But when she first wake up, I'm sleeping with a damn monster. That's why he didn't fuck her. She don't ever stop talking. Ever stop talking. She just talk all day long. There's always a problem with this. There's always, why did you leave out the front door? You should have just left out the back door. Why didn't you turn the heat up? 75 is not hot enough. Do you really have to stomp so loud when you walk? And she has a complaint for everything that you do. You don't get to hear that because you're not married to her. Y'all just meeting up from time to time. Yeah, you might have a dinner here and there together, but ultimately you're just fucking. Let's just call it what it is. You're just fucking her. And in those moments where the two of you are just fucking, she's great. She's great to talk to. She's great to listen to for 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. And when she's gone, she's on your mind. And man, that was great. I can't wait until we do it again. Completely different from being able to do it all the time, looking at her all the time, listening to her all the time, and seeing how much of a fucking headache she really is. Or you could be her headache. She might not have realized how good she had it with her husband. And then she could come and get with you, and now you're her headache. Either way, though, she's on your ass. She just won't shut up and leave you alone. As the other, you're just the other. You will never be the one. And if she did leave her husband to be with you, you are not the first man that she stepped out on her husband with. Women might be able to handle that a little bit better, being the other woman. But men, for some reason, get so lost in the fantasy. They believe the woman when she says, I've never done this before. You're the only one. Oh, my God, I can't believe I did that. I don't know what you do to me, but it's just you. She's lying her ass off. And your dumb ass is going to fall for it. You're ready to give your entire life to this woman, forgetting that she has a husband. And if that husband ever follows her, she has him figured out. But once she changes her pattern, his alarms go up. And if he ever follow her and find you and realize that you are the reason that she's switched up, she's not coming home like she used to, she's not cooking the way she used to, she's not looking at him the way that she used to, she's not touching him the way that she used to. Forget the fact that he wasn't touching her, but now she's not touching him. He know that something is different. Mm-hmm. And come to find out you're the something that's different in this. He wants everything that you're giving her. And when I say that, you know what, I don't want to go too dark, but he wants everything. And that man is going to snap, and he's going to take everything that you were giving her, and you're not going to be able to give it to her anymore. Because he snapped. Men typically cannot take that pain that they dish out and apologize and expect her to get over it and be happy and smile and it's over and done with. I'm not doing it anymore. That was then. That was 8 years ago. I stopped. I promise you. We've been great. But the moment that woman steps out on him, the entire world ends for him at that point. And if that was a good man, and that wife is just hot in the ass, she's older, but she's still hot in the ass, he's not going to take that too easy. So as the other man, you need to be careful. We're not telling the woman what to do as the other woman. We're not telling the man what to do as the other man. But what we are saying is, don't be stupid and think that the woman's going to leave her husband, or don't be stupid and think that that man's actually going to leave his wife. That's not what they're involved with you for. They're involved with you to add on to whatever's missing from when they're home. You know, I like to do a lot of research. Ironically, I did some research on this topic last year. So in this research, I came across some information that there was a man who was married, children, who had this other woman, and he set her all the way up. He got her an apartment to live, comes and goes when he wants. He told her to quit her job. She doesn't ever have to work. Just stay home, be home. We'll be together. He got her a car. Put money in the bank for her. This is your money. You do whatever it is that you want to do with it. In her eyes, this was the greatest thing to have ever happened to her. She couldn't have asked for anything else. She was so happy. Only problem was she wasn't happy because he never had time for her. He would go months at a time without seeing her. I promise you I'm going to get to you. I'm going to be there. Oh, I got caught up at work. I couldn't make it. You know what? One of my kids got sick. I gotta be with them. I gotta take care of them. I can't make it to you right now. And all of those excuses turn into 2 and 3 months of her being alone in his house that he paid for, driving the car that he paid for, access to all of the money that he put in the account for her. But she feels alone and she's sick of it. The way that she tells the story, she don't think there's anybody else. he's just so busy that he can't get to her. Person that she's talking to actually shut up and listen. That person hears the story of, well, one time I saw him and he was with this woman and they had these 2 kids and the kids looked like him, but he said that was his niece and nephew. And I waved hi to him and he just turned around and acted like he didn't see me. And then when I questioned him about it a few days later, he told me that he didn't see me. He just thought that was somebody that he didn't know, so he just continued eating with his sister and her kids. That other woman was miserable. He established control of her entire life. She didn't have a life of her own anymore. And a lot of other women end up being in that type of scenario where the man has complete control over what she's doing, even though he's married to somebody else. Yeah. Why does he get to be the only one who have somebody else? Why can't you have somebody else since you're already his somebody else? He can't handle that shit.
Right.
It's a control thing, even with you being the other woman. You could almost be guaranteed he can't control his wife that way. Whatever their setup is, that's what it is. They have it, and that's everything that he's ever wanted as far as his wife goes. But for you as the other woman, he needs to have all of the control of where you go, when you see him, which is very rare, when you actually look at it and think about it. Because the times are so great when the two of you see each other, you don't really realize how rare it is that you actually see each other, but it's not really that often. But in those moments when you're not together, he needs to control everything. Where are you going? How long are you going to be there? When are you coming back? No, you can't go there. Stay home. You know what? Actually, I'm going to come to you now. Since you want to go out, I'm going to come to you. But of course he's not coming out because the wife's not letting him out. Not on this night. The wife is tired of this shit. She had to deal with the other 2 women that came before you, and that took a whole lot out of her. So if he thinks he's about to pull his bullshit again with some other new woman, he's going to have to deal with her divorcing him, and he don't want that divorce. So now he don't have the opportunities that he once had with those other women that came before you to sneak away all the time, more than the once every 2, 3, 4 months out of the year. That was the research that I came across last year.
Pretty good research.
Yes, it was. I couldn't wait to share it with you.
I'm so glad you shared. I think, I know that human relationships, adult relationships between men and women are never going to be simple. They're always going to be complicated. We talk a lot about them on the show, and we try to give advice or insight based on our experiences or the things that we're observing to try to help people. And sometimes we're helping ourselves. I'm not saying that either one of us sit in a position where we never have interpersonal issues with people we're in a relationship with, or friends, or family, whatever. But because we're on a podcast, I doubt that you want us to just sit here and say nothing. I would hope that you would want us to speak up and speak out about the things that we're seeing. And who knows, the advice that we're giving could be good advice for ourselves. I know that our perspectives are sometimes different because King is a man, I'm a woman. He could be single or involved, who knows? And I'm definitely married. So we have these differing point of views to offer when we discuss topics. And I think that that's what makes it such a beautiful thing, because it allows us to see things from so many different angles. When it comes to being the other in a relationship, I think one thing is clear and we agree upon regardless, is that you should, if you're selecting to be in this relationship, as most people do, they just don't always know or anticipate how deep their feelings will go or how much it may hurt when things don't work out, is to keep in mind that you're not, the purpose of you is to be the other, period. If you keep that in mind always, it may help you with any types of adjustments that come later, regardless of what he or she says to you. You aren't the wife or husband. You are this other person. The wife or husband should not be hurt. Should not be hurt. Like, it's not, it's really not your place to put them in their place, because they're in their place. They are the wife or husband, so it's not your job to make them feel small because you've selected to be in this extra situation. That's really just not your place. They're married. You're the other. You're just a piece. And it could be a beautiful situation that you have with him or her, or it could be an ugly one. And if it's an ugly one, just leave. If you're not getting what you want out of any relationship, regardless, if you're the main, on the side, does not matter. I've said over and over again, stop staying with people you're unhappy with. And I'm not just talking about me and King unhappy, for like 30 seconds every single day. I'm talking deep in your soul, this man or woman is not right for you. It doesn't matter what you've invested. It doesn't matter what you promised or what he promised. Right in this moment, and for the last few times, the last few months, the last few years, you have not felt good with this person. Let go. But don't bring whoever the husband or wife is, don't bring nobody else in it. It's on you to make a decision for you that you no longer want to stay in this. So if he does not keep his promise or she does not keep her promise, that does not have anything to do with the husband or the wife, who may or may not know about you. That's on you. You selected this relationship and you selected him or her, and it just didn't work out. So end it. That's really all I got to say about it. That's it. So I know I say the same thing over and over, but I mean every last word. We do. Thank you for listening in to The Universe is Talking. It's a pleasure to have you with us. It really is. I mean, you don't have to listen to us. You could choose any other podcast, and I'm sure you're listening to others, but you still choose to spend your time with us. But we also want to hear from you. Like, this topic is a topic that someone brought to us last season. If you have a topic that you want to discuss, you think that we will have some insight, whether it be there be some humor to it or some seriousness, whatever it is, just let us know what your thoughts are. Also, let us know what your thoughts are on this particular topic. Leave your comments in the discussion below the post. In the meantime, be sure to like, follow, share, and until next time, love on each other.